Okay. I always mess this up with the fading and switching and stuff. Welcome. If you don't know me, I'm James. I'm a product designer, I'm a hobbyist musician, and I like, I don't know, all things design, music, making things to make music, making devices, instruments, those kinds of things. So if you're into that, then this is the right place. In these live streams, I've been working on a project called LDM for short, or Live Drum Machine, which is a, well, I can show you here. It's a electronic device which is coming along a little bit slowly, but it will be something between a kind of a drum machine sequencer, like an octatrack or something like that, and some kind of audio looper. I always forget to bring up the folder, but if I bring it up, I can show this image that I always show every time, just to give you a bit of an idea of the kinds of devices that you can think about. When you see this keyboard, it's more of a reference of the size. It's something which is between a looper device like this and a drum sequencer kind of device like this, which may or may not have some playable elements like this in it. We'll see. And yeah, what I'm doing is CAD design. So it's mostly mechanical design / industrial design, and I'm doing that in SolidWorks CAD. So yeah, that's just my little intro. If you're into this kind of stuff, great to have you here. Be sure to write anything that comes to mind. If you want to talk, you can ask questions, or feel free to write or not write if you don't feel like it. But either way, I'm super happy that anybody is interested in watching this. So thank you very much for clicking on the stream, and I hope that I can somehow entertain you. But yeah, that's my intro. So I'm just going to get into it. Where I got to last time, I put in this little switch, which was modeled by somebody from GrabCAD named, I think it was Stephen Park, who has done an amazing job of modeling this and saved me a bunch of time having to do it myself. But I am going to change a couple things about this. This was just a step file, and I've converted it into a SolidWorks file. I want to create some what's the word? I've blanked. Some configurations of this part. So I want to have the button in the up position and the down position, so that I can see like how the buttons are going to fit when you press them down, and how far it's going to go down, those kinds of things. I also want to put I think there's an LED in there. I'm going to make space for having no LED. I might add a transparency to this plastic top, because the switches are generally transparent on the top for light to come through. And yeah, I'll also make a variant where this little PCB cutout isn't there as well. What else? Oh, so I put this PCB in, I think last stream or the one before, I guess, which is a vertical PCB which attaches to this one here, this horizontal main PCB. And I've been thinking about different ways that this can be attached, or that it can be kind of stabilized, I guess, because if you're pushing really hard on this jack, it could bend here. So there needs to be something stabilizing it. Now, I had an idea I had a couple ideas which I mentioned in the last stream. One was that I would have some kind of brace here that is like a metal piece that sort of triangulates this. So the metal piece solders down into this PCB, and then you would put a screw in through this face and into the metal bracket behind it. that would mean I would need to have 2 brackets and 2 screws at least. The other option would be to create some more little tiny PCBs that are like little triangles that fit in the corners, and I could solder those to this vertical PCB and the horizontal PCB. But the problem there is it's a lot of soldering, and it's a bit of a non-standard way to do these kinds of things. So I thought about it a little bit more, and I might have thought of a new idea which is potentially even easier to assemble. I'll just hide this for now. So my top plate, I have like two layers. So this and this, which are they're two currently 1.5 millimeter thick aluminium sheets that are attached to each other, I don't know, with some adhesive or spot welded or something. And what I was thinking is if I made this PCB tall enough that it reaches the underside of this PCB, so this blue face, then I could have a little slot in this bottom plate that PCB fits into. So when I screw this PCB into this one, there'll be some bosses here which can attach it. This little PCB would slot into, or would fit into that little slot cut out in there, and that would kind of lock it in place. So if I would then push on this jack in this direction, it wouldn't bend because it would be held in place by that slot. And same thing when you pull it out, it wouldn't bend that way because the slot would hold it in place. And that means that I don't have to have any extra fixtures or any extra soldering or anything like that. So this, I think, could be a really nice solution. I still need to work out how to get the connections from these jacks on this PCB onto this one. And yeah, there's basically 2 ways I'm thinking about doing that. One of them is that, sorry, I'll just show this again. One of them is that I can just have little contacts on both these PCBs, and you could just put a dob of solder in the corner just to connect them. Or I could have a pin connector, like some pins on this PCB and a receptacle on this PCB. So this PCB kind of plugs in using the pins. That would mean that it's removable. Not sure if that's necessary or a necessity yet. But yeah, at least I've got 2 ideas or possible solutions for that. So I'm pretty confident with how this is going now, and I don't think it's going to be too many extra parts and too much extra work. Sorry, I just saw some messages coming through. My bad. Okay. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do first is fix up this model, and then I'm going to start thinking about how I can lay out these buttons, because this design, why is my camera switching? This design right now, it's not going to be the final design, and I'm not expecting this thing that I'm working on to be the final design, or it will eventually evolve to that. But my current goal now, or what I'm aiming for, is a design for a prototype that we can manufacture in very small quantities, possibly just one for, well, at least one to start testing with, but possibly one for each person that's involved in the project that will need to have one in front of them in order to do development stuff like firmware development, software development, that kind of thing. And for Yessa and I, it's going to mean testing the UX related stuff, testing the different types of interaction, and seeing if what elements we actually need, like how many buttons we need, how many knobs we need, where things should be placed, and all that kind of stuff. So this prototype needs to be flexible in the sense that we probably need to have more controls on here than are necessary. So we'll have a bunch of buttons, and maybe the final product has, I don't know, 10 buttons or something. But for this prototype, because we're trying to work out where the buttons should be, how many buttons we should have, it might make sense for us to have 30 buttons or 40 buttons, or maybe 60, I don't know, or at least 60 different positions where buttons could be. And that'll allow us to try different variations. So we can try having some buttons over here, we can try have some buttons over here, we can try having a big grid. Basically this design at first is going to be a platform for testing, prototyping, iterating, that kind of thing. So it's going to be a bit over designed and have more things than will be necessary in the end, just so that we can test different options. Because yeah, with something like this, it's very hard to, we're trying to conceptualize how you will interact with it, and the types of interactions that we're conceptualizing aren't common or aren't possible on other devices that we know of. We can kind of replicate them by having a MIDI controller connected to some software, and we can test out some things, but really we want to have like a testing platform where we can try different types of interactions and stuff and see what works. So long story short, this thing that I'm designing, is going to have way too many buttons, way too many knobs, sliders, these kinds of things that maybe we don't need in the end, but we want to test them. So for the buttons, that means right now what I'm thinking is that I would basically just have a grid here where I can have a bunch of spaces where buttons can be, and probably some sockets on the PCB where these switches can connect. So yeah, that's probably gonna be what I start doing in this stream, is just starting to lay out a grid of a lot of buttons. And then in the next video I might start thinking about knobs, so where we can have encoders. Maybe we have a strip along the top. It's nice to have encoders. I didn't expect that someone would stream SolidWorks. Yeah, well, I didn't expect somebody would watch it. Hopefully there's a niche here. I'm not sure. Yeah, so in the next stream I'll probably, if I mean, imagining that I finish this stuff with the buttons, in the next stream I'll probably do something with knobs. And I like the idea of knobs being close to the display, because if it's an encoder, so a knob which can endlessly turn, it doesn't have a start point and an end point, and if you can change the function of that knob, so in one mode the knob does one thing and in a different mode it does a different thing, you need to always be able to see what the value is of that knob. But on a knob that's function changes constantly, it doesn't make sense that you can see it on the actual knob with like a physical line, because when you turn it to one position and then change it to a different mode, the value in that new mode might be something different, and the knob doesn't reflect what that value is. So showing values digitally makes a lot more sense. So putting a knob next to a display means you can show the value of the knob on the display and physically turn the knob, and then when you change the mode, therefore changing what this knob's function is, the display can show its new value related to its function. One and only Dave. I'm learning it now. I did now a bottle holder. Cool. What inspired you to start learning SolidWorks? Are you studying, or are you trying to pick it up as a hobby or something? And also, thank you very much for joining the stream. And I was curious if Twitch has a corner for CAD. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't seen much CAD on Twitch, but yeah, and I wasn't quite sure which category to stream into, because you have this software and developing or developer category, which is what I'm streaming in now. And I think that's the best fit, although this isn't software development, and I don't know if the category is like software, as in using software, and development, so also development, or if it's software development. This is neither of those. This is hardware development in software. So I don't know. Hopefully this is the right place. Okay. I've talked a lot, given a long intro. I'm going to start editing this. So, I'm going to delete this from my assembly because I'm going to change how it's referenced. I'm now doing something in direction mechanical engineering, one below the bachelor. Oh, cool. Very nice. So are they teaching you SolidWorks at university, or are you learning it just on your own? Sorry, just let me open something up. Twitch is way better. Do you mean the the latency elk? Is that what's way better? I did change something in my stream settings on YouTube, so I'm hoping that the latency might be a little bit improved. I tried chatting on YouTube but didn't see my comment pop up. Oh. Okay. That's weird. Oh, yeah, I see your chats on YouTube actually, but it's not showing up on Restream. Hmm. Let me check something. You know, I wrote a support message to Restream to ask about the stream latency, and they asked me to change something about how YouTube was connected. And I told them, okay, I'll try it when I am home, because I wasn't at home at the time. And then I thought maybe I shouldn't, because it might break the chat, and I didn't do it. And maybe they did it because now chat's broken. So I don't know what's going on, but I can see the YouTube messages on my phone here. So they teached it in second semester, and now I'm on self-study. Okay. I have a student license, and why not use it? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's the best way to learn. Like, find something that you want to make, that you want to try to model, and try modeling it, and yeah, like that's my kind of go-to for learning stuff is I mean, you can watch a lot of tutorials and stuff, which gets you a long way, but at some point you start getting bored of watching tutorials and you just need to try a project. Twitch has way less latency. I'll just tune in and stream through Twitch from now on. I'll just tune in and stream through Twitch. Yeah. I did hear that YouTube just made it possible to stream in AV1 codec, which I think should have a lot lower latency. So if you're just going to stream to one platform, I would try that first because yeah, apparently AV1's really good, and Twitch haven't made that possible yet. And the new OBS updates do allow you to stream with AV1. Okay, what am I doing? Alright, so what I want to do... I'm gonna break the links. Oops. So I want to orient this so it's facing upwards. So I'm gonna add some mates. The top plane will be mated with... Right, I have to select all the bodies. And the top plane will be mated with this face in the other direction. Okay. Right plane will be mated with this. Why can't I make that face? Be right back. No problems, man. Okay. Can choose that face. Make it parallel. And this face parallel with the front plane. This point. Come on, give me the point. On the right plane. And then this point on the front plane. That should get me pretty much in line. Elk, thanks for following me again. I need to make some better alerts there. How did it feel to have an alert play? Did it feel like it exposed you? I don't know if people like that or not. I did this around the wrong way. Damn it. Okay. Right plane. Right plane. Okay, that looks good. That was loud AF and did not expect that. Like the sound effect that it made. Maybe I need to adjust that. Or maybe I'm just speaking too quietly or something. Yeah, even you shook. You look shook. Yeah, it does catch me off guard a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna do a save as. I'm gonna put it kale chalk. I think that's all the naming needed. And I'm gonna make it a step. Oh, actually, there's something else that I want to do. I'm gonna delete this face. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope. Nope. Delete and fill. Well, there goes SolidWorks. Good thing that I didn't save it. Oh, isn't that fun? Lucky I have my stream key hidden then. If he came to show his law book, he sure did. Okay, here's SolidWorks. What am I doing? Cool, I get to start from scratch, isn't that great? So I'm back. Welcome back. Well, you just missed out on a big fail. SolidWorks decided all of a sudden that it didn't want to work, and it actually wanted to be closed. So now I'm starting everything again. And now, File Explorer is crashed. So everything's going great. Here we go. Gonna do this again. Yeah, so starting all over means I didn't save. Funny enough, I actually brought up the save dialog and closed it because I wanted to change one more thing before saving it. And then it crashed. So that was just me being stupid. It doesn't necessarily happen a lot. I mean, if I'm working like a whole day on SolidWorks, it might crash once in a day. Generally, I don't lose much though. This I think just happened because, I don't know, maybe there's something weird about the geometry in this model. But I tried to do, I can try it again now. I tried to do a delete face on this face, delete and fill, and it just crashed. So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't want to delete that face. Fun. Well, at least it's a repeatable bug. Oh, Ada. Sorry, my YouTube chat isn't showing up on the screen for some reason. So I'm reading a chat from YouTube from Ada. And he is gonna ask me to pronounce something which sounds rude in German. So even though the last one wasn't that bad, I'm not gonna say it. Sorry, Ada. I guess you are German. Nice magic trick. Everything disappeared. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not gonna try to delete the face, even though I want to. Maybe I'll do it after I save. Oops. Okay, this is getting annoying now because I'm getting chat on YouTube and it's not showing up on my stream. So I don't know what the guys at Restream did, if they changed something about my stream, but this is very annoying. But hello, I don't know if I should say that name. Kine, very nice to see you with your lovely German name. Something that roughly translates to no bull. Coworker gifted me a 3D Space Explorer. What's your opinion on this? What's a 3D Space Explorer? I don't know what that is. /copy bodies. Okay, so I've got to do this again. Sepser7 is now following. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you clicking on the stream. Hope you're getting some kind of entertainment from this. Okay, what am I doing here? I want to make the top plane with this face. Trublex is now following. Thank you also for the stream. I mean, for the follow and for clicking on the stream. Great to have you here. I feel more and more surprised and also grateful that so many people are even clicking on this stream to see what's going on. I never realized that people would be interested. I mean, I hoped that people would be interested, but I had no idea if they really would. So yeah, the fact that I'm getting any attention here it's great. So thanks guys for checking it out. Okay. Okay, good. Am I all aligned? Yep, looks good. Okay, this time I'm gonna really save it. It's like a joystick to move all the axes. Ah, yeah, I know this thing. Yeah. Oh, and I just realized that I've been talking about what I'm doing on screen and not showing it. So, great streaming work from me. Sorry, guys. 3D Space Explorer. If you notice that I'm talking for an extended time with this view just on my face on the camera, and I'm talking about what I'm doing, please remind me that I need to switch back to the heck? Whatever. Yeah, remind me that I need to show my screen again. And I was gonna show this. Okay, 3D Space Explorer. Whoa, this thing does look like a space explorer. Yeah, a friend and ex-colleague of mine had one of these, but not with the pad. I think it was just like a really small thing with this little knob on it, which you can just like tilt and rotate. I haven't tried it myself. Apparently, when you get used to them, they're really great. Adrema 10. Thanks for the follow. Wow, so much love coming in. This is awesome. I wasn't expecting to ever have so many people follow it in one stream. So much appreciated. Look at me go, right? Exactly right, Alec. Look at me go. I feel great. Where was I? Yeah, this thing, apparently they're really good. Apparently once you get used to them, they make life a lot easier in CAD. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. Anyway, let me get back to this. So I've discovered that deleting this face doesn't want to work. Gonna save a new copy of this. Whoa, another follower. One and only Dave is now following. Thank you very much. I feel a bit overwhelmed, to be honest. I think the most people that have followed in one stream is one, so this is awesome. And 7 viewers. feel like a celebrity, guys. This is crazy. Okay. Let me properly save this. Kale chalk. Temp. Step. Yeah, I'm now trying to use it, but I always end with the mouse. Yes, I think my old colleague who let me try it. Did I even save that? Sorry, I'm getting very distracted here. Yeah, I did save it. Yeah, my colleague who let me try this thing. What's the other one called? 3D Connexion CAD Mouse Pro? No, it's a mouse. This thing. This is what he had. And I tried it out, and it was a little bit overwhelming for me because it's like you can do a lot of stuff with it. And I think it's a muscle memory thing. I think you really have to try it and get used to it to know how it works. But yeah, supposedly they're awesome. But I'm very much like, why is this stopwatch always here? I'm very much like hand hovering around escape and hitting escape a lot. Your voice is very relaxing, mate. Thank you. I didn't expect anyone to say that. Maybe I should start ASMR. Yeah, my hand is generally always hovering around. Your eyes are dreamy. Come on, guys. Making me blush. Yeah, I'm normally hovering around escape just because I press escape a lot, and control shift for selecting, and I'm always bouncing over to the numpad to type in dimensions and stuff. So I don't know how it would go if I had one of those 3D connection things, if I would have it here or like put it here or something. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the best way to use it is. But I'm all for like desk optimization stuff. Like I'm interested even in designing my own custom keyboard and maybe even a mouse as well. So yeah, definitely like this thing that you suggested, this is like really piques my interest. I love controllers, all kinds of controllers, whether it's for a computer or for music or anything like that. Like interacting with digital devices. Love that. Yeah, push, pull, and rotate, etc, etc. That's a lot for beginning. I have it on the left of the keyboard. Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Like, I mean, maybe I would have my keyboard a bit more in the middle, because then it feels like your arms are kind of both straight, and you could really just relax and just like use your two hands like this. Nice mouse pad. Thanks. It's just like a world map. It's a bit weird, like some of the countries are spelled wrong. Like Melbourne, where I originally I'm from somewhere near Melbourne. It's spelled Melbourne, like Bouren. So I don't know, somebody messed up a little bit when they made this, but yeah, it's not a bad nice mouse pad. Definitely recommend getting like the full desk pad where it goes underneath the keyboard. I think it's nice, like not having any bumps. Oh my god, getting so distracted. Okay, let me try one more time if this is gonna crash everything. Delete face. So delete and patch. Let's see if this will work. Maybe I can do it on this face. Let's see what happens. No, that does something weird. Yeah, that's very weird. Let's see if delete and fill will work without crashing. Let me open it back up. SolidWorks devs, if you're watching, I've just done that 3 times, the same thing. Trying to delete and fill 3 times on a pretty basic surface. Instantly crashed the program. Fix it. Where are you from? I'm from Australia. I'm from country Victoria in Australia, close to Melbourne. Where are you from? I should know because you are the one and only. Could you tell by my accent? Oh, what is happening? Oh, okay, yeah, that's broken. That makes sense. Switzerland. Cool. Hello, Dave. Need to make sure no one's chatting on YouTube. I wonder if now that I saved this as my own step file, if it'll let me fix it now. Oh, look at you guys getting along in the chat. This is great. Okay, moment of truth. 4th time lucky. Okay, let's see if delete and patch works. No. Delete face. This is ridiculous. I'm 50 minutes in and I've done literally nothing. Well, that's the first time I'm watching something on Twitch and it has to do nothing with games. Cool. I'm glad I could be the one. Okay, so I think what I've discovered is that this face is not going to get deleted. Like, unless I just actually delete the face and don't fill it. But then that's just stupid, so. Who knows what's going on there. And I don't know why I lost all my colors. It's a little bit annoying. This is now a key switch. This is a key switch, yeah. I didn't model this, by the way. This was done by someone on GrabCAD. Who goes by the name of, I think it was Stephen Park. And he did a really good job at modeling this. So very grateful for Stephen Park because it saved me a lot of time. And he uploaded it just as a step file, which is like a generic CAD file. And I'm just turning it into my own SolidWorks model that I can bring in my SolidWorks assemblies. But yeah, there's something going on with this geometry. I just wanted to get rid of these lines. That's why I was trying to delete the face. But for whatever reason, normally that feature works. I think maybe it's just something wrong with this model, but it doesn't want to work. So I'm giving up on it. I aligned this so the top face is now on the PCB face and the front and right planes are central to this middle pin. Now I'm just going to set the material to be, I'll just say ABS, plastic. And the only reason why is so that like when I create the assembly, it'll roughly estimate how much everything weighs, which can be nice for calculating the total weight of the product. I'm gonna change this to like a gray, dark gray color. I'm just gonna add some different appearances like it was before. So I'm gonna do a basic appearance of light green for the PCB. I'm gonna do a medium gloss plastic of a kind of, wait no, I'm gonna do a translucent plastic. Where's transparent? Hello? Clear plastic. Translucent plastic. And I'm going to apply that to this body. Does that look weird? Maybe frosted? Yeah, I'll do frosted. Because that part is actually transparent on the real thing. You know, I'm gonna change this back to white, how it was. I'm just gonna leave the LED like that. I'm gonna do medium gloss, actually a low gloss, black. Low gloss, black for this part. A low gloss. How can I do a brown? Oh yeah, that's good. And that will be for this part, this body. We'll do a bit lighter, yeah. Because this is a chalk brown switch. Sorry, I stopped paying attention to the chat. My bottle holder is nothing against this. Yeah, I didn't model this, so yeah. I'm not gonna take credit for it. Do you print your 3D models? I mean, depends what it is. Like I'm designing a, like the goal of this project is I'm designing a drum machine, like something that should look like this. So some elements for a prototype I might print, but in the end, this project is intended to be like a mass producible product, and I wouldn't use 3D printing for mass production. It's good for small prototype runs. How do you know how to extract an STL file in Foldworks? Oh, do I know how to? Yeah, so you can save as STL. Let me just save this first. So I can do save as new, and then just go to STL. And you can set some options here, so you might want to increase the deviations and the angles. It'll give you a more refined mesh. And yeah, you can do that, and then that'll give you it shows you the triangles there, how fine the mesh is, and that will give you a STL that you can bring into like Blender or something like that. I don't know what program that would open in. I don't know. Where did that go? Whatever. You get the idea. Nice, thanks. I'll put it in Prusa Slicer. Oh, you want to print your bottle holder? Yeah, well, that would be the way to do it. Yeah. Just make sure that turning up the resolution kind of makes it take a little bit longer to save, and it might also make the file bigger. But for printing, if it's like especially if it's a resin printer or something, having the higher resolution definitely improves the quality. What am I doing? I'm gonna put a matte nickel. Oh, I always forget to press the appearance button, and then you've got to find the appearance again. Matte nickel. I'm going to put that on these legs. And this is a bit interesting, like that Stephen has put in this LED model here and put pins through the board, but this is actually not related to this particular switch. Like this switch doesn't come with a LED. You can put any LED that will fit in that space, and it doesn't need to go through the board either. So these holes in the board aren't really related to this pin layout for this switch. And actually, now that I have just realized I named it with temp, which I didn't want to do. So just rename it. So now I'm gonna make some different configurations of this. So the default configuration can just be everything. I'm gonna add another configuration and call it just like switch yeah, I'll just call it switch. Did you study something in direction engineering? Yes, I studied product design engineering, which is kind of a combination of mechanical engineering and industrial design. So we take out some of the stuff from mechanical engineering and do some more design focused stuff. So a lot of CAD modeling and also like design sketching and those kinds of things. Okay, so in this configuration, I don't want the PCB, and I don't want oops, I don't want the LED. I just want the switch. So I can delete the bodies, and then I'm just left with the switch. And then you can see if I switch back to this other configuration, the PCB and the LED are there. I can make another configuration. Wait. I'm going to delete these in two different features. So I'll call this delete LED. So that feature deletes the LED. And then I'll also do another one that deletes the PCB. So I'll call that come on. Where's rename? Am I blind? Oh, I was going to call it rename. Delete PCB. Then what I can do is if I want a configuration, I can even change the order of those. If I want a configuration where the PCB is there but the LED isn't, I can go switch plus PCB. And then I will suppress the, no, that's the wrong one. I'll suppress delete PCB. So the PCB is back. And now this is just the switch and the PCB. I don't know if I need that or not. I can also rename this switch plus PCB plus LED. Alright, now I want a configuration with the switch in the up position and one where it's in the down position. So I'm going to create another configuration. I'm going to call it switch down. And this one it'd be nice if they were in a good order, but whatever. This one I'm going to add a move copy bodies feature. I'm going to move this body and I'm going to move it, I'm going to translate it in the Y direction down. Now I'm just going to do it a random amount and then I'm going to go to the data sheet and I'm going to check exactly how far it should move down. Come on, this renaming thing is so annoying in SolidWorks Connected. Just call it switch down. So then when I change between switch, it's the switch in the up position and switch down. Maybe I'll call this one switch up, and that might put them next to each other. Yeah, there we go. Could also make this a derived configuration. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll delete that. I can make a derived configuration, and this is like a nested configuration of the main configuration. So we'll call it switch down in brackets. And then that's like a sub configuration. So maybe I can still, yeah, I still have this feature here. I can unsuppress it. So switch down, switch up. So then if I make some changes to the switch configuration, it'll also make those, it'll bring those changes downstream to the switch down sub configuration. If that makes sense, I don't know. Okay, I got a little bit in the zone then. And I didn't give you that much attention, sorry Dave. Yeah, the course was really great. You said sounds great to the product design engineering. I loved it. I loved combining design with engineering. I think it's like a really good combo. And I've seen a lot more unis starting to do it now. I think the first unis that were doing it were in France and maybe Spain too. But yeah, now some unis in the UK are doing it, I think, and possibly also in Germany. But yeah, I think it's a really good combination. And you said you're Swiss, right? So I'm assuming you're studying in Switzerland. I was just recently in Geneva. I've been to Bern once before as well. I live in Berlin, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that when I said that I was born in from Australia, but I'm a Europe person now. Okay, so what I was gonna do is open up the data sheet for that switch. So let me find it. And I can't open it. Just a second. I'm more on the Italian side, but we speak German here. Okay. Italian side. Like I know there's the German speaking side and the French speaking side. Are there also Italian speaking areas, or is it German speaking on the Italian side? I'm sorry, I know that I'm not showing my screen. I'm just looking something up. Alright, this is GrabCAD where I downloaded the switch here by Stephen Park, who did a great job modeling it. And he also posted a datasheet, so I'm gonna download that again. Make sure that I have it saved somewhere this time. Okay. Near St. Moritz. I don't know where that is. I'm sorry. Okay, so datasheet. We've got some dimensions here. Let me zoom in a bit. So what we need is like a travel length or like a press length or something. So we can see how far the switch moves down when you press it. Pre-travel, 1.2 millimeters plus or minus 0.5 mil. And total travel, 2.4 millimeters plus or minus 5. Okay. So I want to know like the maximum depth that it can go so I can design around the maximum depth. So the maximum depth would be 2.45 millimeters down. So if we go worst case scenario where we're adding an extra 0.5 millimeters. So when I go to my switch down configuration, I can adjust this so it moves down 2.45 millimeters. And that is like inside the switch. Okay, so hopefully that's physically possible. Yeah, very cool. Now I also want to add like a skeleton sketch here. I want to check what the dimensions are like on this. 13.6. I think this should be 13.7, the total width. Well, okay, that must be an angled surface. Distance 13.8. It says in the data sheet. It says in the data sheet that the hole cutout for this switch needs to be 13.7 by 12.7. Now, I'm pretty sure, and this might sound crazy, but I'm pretty sure that that is wrong. Because if I measure from here to here, 13.6. If I measure from here to here, 13.6. And spoiler alert, my colleague bought one of these switches and we made a little jig to click it into in the office. We laser cut something to click it into. And I can show that actually. Let me find some pictures of it. Just one moment. Oops. Where can I save that? LDM. I'll just save it here. Here we go. Oh, wrong button. Here. Yeah, so we made this little rig that we could click in the switches to test out the different types of tactile force, because you have like clicky switches, you have linear switches, you have switches with different amounts of force that's needed to press them. And we made these squares 13.7 millimeters in this direction and in this direction, and it fits perfectly. That looks nice. Thank you. Yeah, we're quite happy with this little testing rig. It feels nice too. It's very satisfying to make. We just cut this out on a laser cutter and glued it together to two separate pieces. But yeah, it looks like a nice little keyboard, but it doesn't actually function. You just can press buttons. But yeah, so we made this 13.7 by 13.7, and the switches fit perfectly in there. But in this data sheet, it says that you should cut it out 13.7 by 12.7. Kale, this is wrong. Fix it. No, I can't blame them. If I said that I've never made a mistake on data sheets that I've created, I would definitely be lying. But yeah, they should fix that. So I want to make a sketch here. I'm gonna hide all the bodies. Make a square sketch. I made this year my first data sheet, and it looked horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Making data sheets or technical drawings, it's yeah, I knew what you meant, don't worry. So it's all good. Yeah, making technical drawings and stuff, it takes a bit of time to get used to, and sometimes it's not very fun as well. Yeah, but you get used to it, don't worry. But yeah, it's very difficult to it's very difficult to do it without missing any details. Like, especially when you're sending these drawings to get manufactured by somebody, it's very easy to make a drawing and send it to them, and they send you back something that's not what you wanted. And you're like, why did you do that? And like, well, you didn't tell us we shouldn't do that. It's like, okay, yeah. So you really have to specify everything, because sometimes, like if you don't say like this edge needs to be deburred or something, you just expect like they'll probably deburr it. They won't. You need to specify everything. Okay. Reference top. I'm gonna do a reference right. Just gonna make a kind of basic block out of this switch, just so I have a rough idea where things are gonna be in my sketch. That's the same thing my teacher said. Yeah. Yeah, you really have to be on it to make sure you do everything. But as long as you have good communication with your suppliers or your manufacturers, you can always fix things later. But, well, you can't always fix things later, so I shouldn't say that. Now, I should mention, Dave, since you're new to SolidWorks and you're also actively studying SolidWorks, the kind of modeling that I'm doing in this... What happened? Why is this defined? Because I defined it to the sketch. Okay. The kind of modeling that I'm doing here is like, I don't want to discourage you or also act like have any level of superiority or anything, but the kind of modeling I'm doing here is likely not how they're teaching you to use SolidWorks. And that's not a bad thing. I just want to mention that some of the things here I'm doing might seem confusing based on how you've been taught things. And you don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it, because I'm I'm doing a lot of kind of non-standard things here. But essentially, I subscribe to the kind of I call it skeleton modeling method, or you can say bottom-up modeling, which basically means I never mate parts to each other, and I never design parts in the context of the assembly. I start with what's called a skeleton model, which is basically a part that just has sketches in it, and they're kind of like master sketches which hold all of the dimensions for all of the parts in the product. In the product. And I'll insert that part, because this is something you may or may not know already. You can insert a part into another part. And well, anyway, I'm enjoying it to watch another one designing. Good, yeah. Yeah, it's not to say that you won't get something from this. I just want to warn you that, like, you might watch what I'm doing and thinking like, what the hell? This is nothing like what I've been taught, and maybe it makes you feel discouraged or something. You don't need to feel discouraged, because I'm doing some weird stuff. Reference right. But yeah, so I make this skeleton model and I insert it into every part that's going to go into this product, and it has all of my sketches in it, which dictate the size of components and the positions of components and everything. And then I link everything back to this drawing, or this sketch model. So when I bring in reference parts, I bring them in at the start of the chain, and I also insert them as parts. So I'm going to insert this kale chalk part. Just going to insert it on the origin, and I'm just bringing in planes and sketches. I'm not bringing in any solid geometry. So yeah, those little sketches I just made based around the part that I downloaded from Stephen Park on GrabCAD. I'm just bringing in these sketches alone into this into my my skeleton sketch here. And I'm going to put a reference to those in my PCB top sketch. So I have this PCB top, which is where I've laid out my display and my jacks, and now I'm going to start laying out positions for switches. So I'm going to draw the same thing that I drew in my other sketch, and I'm going to put some similar lines in there like this. Going to make that equal to that, that equal to that, and then I have this kind of movable copy of my switch hole cutout, or like the footprint of the switch, I guess you can say. Which I can position in the sketch. I started with a cylinder and then erased or extracted material. Oh, for the bottle opener, bottle holder? Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah. The only thing that I do is I draw everything in a sort of master sketch first, and then I do the modeling based on that sketching, if that makes sense. Um, Now I'm gonna have a lot of these switches in here. But I don't want to pattern them. My coworker in development said it's easier to extract than to build up. In some cases, yeah. I guess what you mean is like subtractive modeling, or like you're kind of creating a block and then sculpting away from it. It depends. In some cases, that's true. Yeah. Now this is a problem that I've been describing a lot. Enjoyed your stream very much. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, man. Thanks heaps for coming, man or woman or non-gendered person. Sorry. Good night. Yeah. Thanks heaps for joining in. Was glad you enjoyed it, and also have a good night. Yeah, this is something that I've been describing. So yeah. This is something I've been describing a lot in my streams, where I'm trying to I want to copy some sketch elements, and I want to copy their external references. So this has an equal to this line, and this has an equal to this line. But there's no way for me to copy it and keep those equal relations. If I do this, equal relations are gone. And if I go copy entities and keep relations, it also gets rid of those. So if anyone from SolidWorks ever sees this, please make a way for me to do that, because I want all of these rectangles to be referenced to this other sketch, not to each other. But to do that, I have to add the relations in for every single one. And no, I don't want to pattern them, and I don't want to do a derived sketch, because derived sketch only allows you to do one derived sketch inside a single sketch, and I want to have, as you can see, a lot of copies of this one layout, and I want to be able to move them wherever I want them, because I might want to switch here and a switch here, a switch here. So yeah, that would be great if you can make a way for me to copy sketch entities with their external relations. By the way, just thought I would mention, I'm once again, I'm still so grateful that there is actually people here enjoying this and chatting to each other and being nice to each other. Super cool. Okay, so let's just try something simple here. Let's say I just want to have a row of switches. I'm going to connect them all with these little what the hell? Is that an arc? Connect them all with these construction lines. make them horizontal and also make them equal so I have an even spacing between them. And give them a dimension. Let's say they're 20 millimeters apart. And let's hide this and this. And I'm gonna put this on the center. Would I want that on the center? Maybe not. Maybe I want like, whatever. I'm just gonna put it over here for now. Give it some random placement. Okay. So, I don't know if you're still watching One and Only Dave. The reason why I'm putting all of this in this sketch is because then I can go back to my assembly. Which is going to struggle to load. I can show that sketch. I'm going to insert my Kale switch. I'm going to hide these. I'm going to give it some mates, but I'm not going to mate it to any other part in the assembly. And this is really important because if I mate it to this PCB, so like this face is coincident with this face, but then if I delete that PCB part, then that's going to break the mates, and then this switch is going to complain that the thing that it was defining its position by is now gone. So I only mate things to the skeleton part, which will always be here. So I'm going to mate my top plane, which I know is like the PCB plane, with the top plane, but I'm just going to make it parallel. Going to make the front plane with the front plane, but also parallel, so it's not touching it. And I'll just do the right plane with the right plane, even though I don't really need to. Also parallel. Then I want to define the height, like where it's sitting vertically, because it's obviously too high. So I'm going to show my PCB right sketch on the skeleton model. And I'm going to take the part's top plane, which I know is the plane that meets the PCB, and I'm gonna mate it to this point, which is a point on my skeleton sketch. So now it's at the right height. Then I want to get its position in the right place, so I'm going to mate its right plane to this point, and I'm going to mate its front plane to this point. Now, my phone's dying. So now, it's fully mated, so its position is fully defined. And I can save this. Hopefully everything works. Because I didn't mate it to this PCB, I can delete the PCB and nothing breaks. So its position is still defined by the height of the PCB in the skeleton part. So undo, bring back my PCB. Then I'm going to copy this with mates. So I'm going to copy the switch. I'm going to repeat all of those parallel mates that I put in because they're all going to be the same, and the height is going to be the same. The only things that I need to change is that my position on this plane is going to be on this point and this point again. One for the right plane, one for the front plane. Okay, then I can do another one. Right plane, front plane. Okay. Right plane, front plane. Okay. Right plane, front plane. Okay. So then, if I was to just edit this sketch, and I can edit it in the context here, if I wanted to put more space in between the switches, I can put more space, and maybe I want to move it down a bit. So I can move them to here. And when I exit the sketch, all my parts are updated. So the position of those parts, because they're linked to those points on the sketch, they moved. And if I also had holes cut in this PCB for like the locating pin, and they were referenced to these points, then those holes would also move. So it's a nice thing about referencing everything to like a skeleton sketch, is it when you make changes, it all updates downstream. Looks so easy, but well, I have to preface, I've been using SolidWorks for about 11 years. So, I mean, I'm still learning a lot. By no means an expert, but I'm fairly comfortable in SolidWorks, I would say. Now, I think to figure out how many switches I'm going to want, I should try to work out a keycap. And I think I'm going to do a custom keycap. I haven't done that many custom parts here yet. I've just done the enclosure top and the enclosure bottom and the PCB. Everything else is off-the-shelf parts. But the keycap, I imagine, is going to have to be custom. Because otherwise the height is going to be hard to define. If I bring up this, some amazing images that Elk was able to take for me last time by pulling apart his polygon tracker, we saw that these keycaps are very likely custom built, because you can see how tall the stem is compared to the other one that I had in the CAD model. So, and probably I'm going to have to do that, the same thing. I wouldn't be able to use their keycaps because I would have to have the exact same height of the PCB from the top plate, and I don't know what theirs is, and it might not be right for mine, so I think probably we need to do custom keycaps. So and will you manufacture everything by yourself? Well, I mean, will you give it... Will you give it in order? I mean, for the initial prototypes, we'll probably get them like 3D printed or something just to try it out. But in the end, if we make more of this device, like in higher quantities, we'll probably do like an injection molded part or something. Should be able to do small quantities of injection molded parts with an aluminium mold, I guess. Elk, I'm just glad that was what you needed. That was perfect. Just don't tell Polyand. Just gave me the confidence I needed. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I could either draw a custom button shape, keycap shape in here, because we might say like that the keycaps should all be custom and they should fit whatever placement they have, but probably we want to have as few unique parts as possible. So what I might do is create something like this display protector drawing where I kind of define a keycap size. Is that a good idea? Go retro and use regular caps for prototype. Yeah, I'm just worried that it's going to be hard to get the height to be right. Like, well, firstly, like the chalk switches, there aren't really retro keys available for them because they're low profile key switches. And if I buy custom ones, like they're going to be really low, so they'll be like inside the device, if that makes sense. Maybe I should try to explain that. And when I say explain that, I'm not just explaining it for myself. I mean, for you guys, I'm also like trying to process it in my head to work out what the right thing to do is. Keycaps. Just gonna leave that sketch there. So I'll bring in that keycap that what's his name? That Stephen Parker made. Stephen Park, I think it was, yeah. My coworker just freaked out. I sent him the bottle opener. It's for his diploma work. He's optimizing the workspace in the electronic corner. I think he's happy. That's awesome. Gotta love that. I mean, that's my favorite part about design. Designing something and showing it to someone and they like it. It's the best. I mean, that's also what I like about music. Like making some kind of music and showing it to someone and they like it. It's like, hell yeah. You get to share in that. It's what it's all about. Where? Why can't I hide that sketch? Validation. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it sounds like shallow to need validation. But I mean, yeah, it's about making people happy, and knowing that you made someone happy, it's awesome. That's the best thing. So you know your work paid off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It makes you feel positive reinforcement. Yeah. You feel like you did something right. Like you're contributing something. I feel very positively and reinforced today in this stream. The fact that like 3 or 4 people followed on Twitch. I'm very validated. It feels great. Made my day. I bet it did. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. Okay. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Key switch. Keycap. Keycap. So I'm going to do the same thing where I will reposition this. I need to split this face just for adding some location geometry. No, that's not going to work. Curves, split line, projection, cool. This might look a little bit confusing too, but I'm just creating some lines on the geometry that I can use to orient it. So I just broke those faces, and then I can align this with the front plane and this with the right plane. So I'm going to go move copy bodies, move this with constraints. Top plane can be there. Front plane can be on this line that I just created. Actually, I need to make front plane parallel to this first. I think this thing's symmetrical, so I don't know if it matters. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Front plane, this point, and then right plane, this point. Cool. Then I can, do I want to risk deleting the face? No, it might crash. I'm not going to do that. Step, kale, chalk. Okay, there's a name for it. Funk monk. U1 U. open that. Funk Monk 1U, sweet. Gonna make it ABS, plastic. Time check, Broham. Yeah, true. Yeah, it's 10:45. Might have to call it soon. What do you reckon? I'll just finish this one thing. Okay. I got a few things to fix before the next stream. Hey, my YouTube comments aren't working. Not too bad. Usually stay up later, but tomorrow is Monday. Yeah, it's true. She'll be right. So you will end the stream soon? Yeah, I'll end soon because I've got to get some sleep for work tomorrow. Is it the same time in Switzerland where you're at? It's 10:45 here in Berlin. Okay. Yeah, the same. Alright, see this elk when I bring this in. I said before that I normally don't mate parts to parts, but I'm just going to do this for the sake of saving time. I made that to that. Okay. So yeah, see how low it is? Like if I put that keycap on there and then I have a hole in the top of the device with like the standard keycaps, it's going to be way too low. And I can't bring the PCB up. Well, I could put the jacks on the opposite side of it and bring the PCB all the way up, but then I can't move the display, and I think the display might end up being thicker than this. It's also nice to have some space under the display. So the other thing is when I move this down, so I can change this to switch down. And it should also move the keycap. Yep. So that's the height that it'll be when it's all the way depressed, and it's like way too low. Yeah, I see what you're saying. If you mount the PCB up with the jacks under, you can probably squeeze VESA posts in there. Yeah, I think I can still figure out the VESA posts anyway. Like I can put holes through the PCB for the VESA posts. I'm more worried about fitting the display underneath, because I don't know how thick the display is going to be. And also when I put knobs in here, like encoders, the encoder body is quite thick. So yeah, not sure yet. I think I know it's a bit of extra work, especially for the first prototype, but I think that custom keycaps is going to be the way to go. I might just have to 3D print a bunch of them. I can do it through like a third party company like Shapeways or something. I can get a bunch of key switches 3D printed. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Hey, I'll leave you now, but hopefully we'll see you. We'll see us soon. Hell yeah, man! Would love to have you back. 3D print would probably be the quickest and least amount of pain. Yeah, I think so. It'll be a bit expensive, but yeah. One and only Dave. I think I'm gonna leave too. I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thanks heaps for joining. It was awesome talking to you. I'm glad you got a kick out of it. Also good to hear about yourself and your studies and everything, and your also, you know, that you got to show something to your friend or your colleague and he was happy with it. And yeah, I'll check my Insta. Yeah, also it would be cool to follow along with your journey. So let me know how you go with your journey learning SolidWorks. And maybe by the time I finish this project, you'll be working on some crazy thing too, and we'll be able to look back at this point and think like, look how far we've come. Yeah, okay. Time to wrap this up. Another stream where it doesn't really look like I did much, but slowly changing little bit by little bit. Yeah, cool. Gonna end it there. Thanks heaps for everyone who joined. Learning process, you too. It was nice to meet you. Yeah, once again, I'm so grateful that there was people here from the start. Elk, as always, thanks heaps for watching, man. You're like my #1 fan. It's great to have you around. I really feel supported there, so that's awesome. And couldn't believe that like there was like 7 people watching at one point. At least that's what it said on Restream. So it's great. I'm super excited that some people are finding this interesting and yeah, clicking and also saying nice things and being friendly to each other. So I couldn't be more grateful. I'll sleep well tonight. Yeah, if you think anyone you know will be interested in this, let them know. And yeah, subscribe to my different social media channels and like the video if you liked it. No stress if you didn't. But yeah, appreciate all that stuff, as apparently it helps. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think that's it. So thanks, and never seen any product design before. It's an interesting thing to watch, bro. I'm glad you like it, man, and I'm glad to have your input, because I can't wait to have you try out this device. And I get this thing of the validation, you know. If I get to make a device where you're like, this is cool, that would be amazing. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thanks again for joining in, and yeah, talk soon and see you on the next one. Bye.